Well, welcome to the Botanical Medicine Study course with me, Stephanie Georgiev, your host and instructor for all things botanical medicine. It is that time of year again to start thinking of gardens for those of us who live in the Northern Hemisphere. And for this week's Herb of the Week, we'll look at a plant that can and should be in most gardens across the world. So for this week's Herb of the Week, we will be exploring the delicious, fragrant, hearty, and healing herb, which is part of that famous Simon and Garfunkel song of the mid 1960s, parsley. Now, parsley, it's also called garden parsley. It's called Petroselinum crispum. And this is a species of flowering plant in the family of the Apiaceae, and it's native to Greece, Morocco, and the former Yugoslavia, which in my opinion is basically the Balkans. We should just say the Balkans. Now, it's been introduced and naturalized in Europe and elsewhere in the world with suitable climates and is widely cultivated as both an herb and a vegetable. And mainly the herb, as we all know, the garnish and what makes everything, in my opinion, delicious. But the root is also really good. And that is used a lot in European cuisines. It's really good. Now, it's believed to have been originally grown in Sardinia and was cultivated around the 3rd century before the Common Era. Linnaeus stated that the wild habitat, and Linnaeus is the guy that started all the naming things, it was a wild habitat to be in Sardinia, and then it's known to have been brought to England and first cultivated in Britain in 1548, which to me it seems kind of late, but that's just me. Now, there are all kinds of medicinal actions, and this one is of the leaf, and it is a diuretic. So if you're prone to holding on to a lot of water, or you're pregnant and your feet are all puffing up, this is just a very gentle, wonderful diuretic. It's also got vulnerary or wound healing properties, and something we used to do back when I was in naturopathic school, we would make we'd blend up a handful of parsley in some water in a blender, and then we would strain out the leaves, and we would use that as a facial. And it's really good because it's so high in so many really healing vitamins. So it's really good. It's also really good as a digestive tonic. And that's one of the original reasons parsley was put into so much food or served alongside food, because it would help you digest what you were eating. Now, I've never used this either personally or in my practice, but some of the older texts say that it does bring on the period, which is called a menagogue. But we also know that it really helps to ease gas, intestinal gas. And I always love that, this is why I think thinking that it was brought to England in the near the 1600s is kind of late. But in medieval times, they were very interested in easing intestinal gas because there weren't a lot of windows in those old castles. Now, if you use the roots, which I've never done, the plant needs to be 2 years old before you can use that. And obviously you have to sacrifice the plant. Now, the leaves are dried for making parsley tea. And the leaves are also very nutritious. They're high in vitamin K, which is a special vitamin that you need for your blood to clot. And a tablespoon of fresh chopped parsley provides more than 70% of the recommended daily intake of vitamin K. It's also very high in vitamin C and, of course, chlorophyll. It also has lots of minerals in it and antioxidants, which all of those things are really good for the health. Now, the other main way that parsley is used is from the seed oil, the parsley seed oil. And there's a lot of overlap, as you can see between these two slides. It's a diuretic, it's a uterine tonic. It's also considered a digestive aid. And I don't know if they still make it, but I don't remember if you've ever heard of a product called Breath Assure. And these were little gel caps, and it basically had parsley seed oil in them. And it really helps to reduce bad breath. And a lot of times, bad breath actually comes from your digestive tract. It doesn't necessarily come from your mouth. And if you're not digesting your food properly or you're having all sorts of issues, the breath can be pretty stinky. So this parsley seed oil is very good at attaching that. And it's also really good for pain relief. And most people take this in pill form. Um, and as I said, it's just really good. It's also good internally for things like joint pains, arthritis, bruises, all kinds of things. So it's just a really useful, lovely, gentle, wonderful remedy. Now, there are all kinds of things in parsley, and we have a few of them in front of you. Um, and as I said before, it's rich in vitamin C and K. So what I also want to say is that all these incredible constituents work very well in tandem, which means it doesn't work to isolate these things because you probably won't get the fabulous results as you do when they're all combined, like what nature has us do. So for those of you who are interested, there's the diagram. Now, there are many ways to take parsley, and this is another herb where I really highly recommend just eating it fresh. And not just the leaves. A lot of us chop the leaves and throw out the stems. The stems are still really healthy, and you can chop those up and put them in sauces and salads and things like that. You can also eat the flowers. They're quite delicious. So there's no like LD50 that I'm aware of parsley. There's no danger sign. I mean, people can eat, lots of parsley and do quite well, but you can get it in tincture form. You can get it in capsule. Obviously, the parsley seed oil works quite well, and you can get it dried in tea. So those are your different ways that you can take it. Now, parsley is really wonderful to cook with. The big thing is to end it and add it in at the end, okay? Because it'll just taste better and you actually get more medicinal properties. Because a lot of the antioxidants and vitamin C, et cetera, it kind of gets destroyed in heating. But something wonderful to eat is like a tabbouleh, which is basically you can make that with quinoa or bulgur wheat, anything you can imagine, and just handfuls of chopped up parsley. And it's just so delicious. And it also just makes your breath smell so lovely. And you can add it to soups and stews, garnishes. You can make pesto out of parsley. You can make it with walnuts, uh, anything you can imagine to do. I've never really seen parsley in a sweet dish, but it's just good to eat on its own, but it always adds that wonderful extra kick to any dish or salad that you're making. Now, parsley is also a wonderful herb to grow. And if you're like me and you like to use a lot of parsley, it's really nice to have in a container garden in your kitchen. And it's sort of like giving it a haircut every once in a while, and it grows back. So that's a wonderful way to always get the fresh parsley. It grows very well in gardens. It's just an easy plant. Depending on where you grow, it can be grown year round, or if you do a lot of freezing in terms of temperature where you live, then it's wonderful to grow inside in container gardens. So, however you want to incorporate this wonderful gift of nature, I hope you come to appreciate all the complex healing and culinary gifts that this lowly little plant that we often think of as just a garnish to be thrown away uh, from our burger plates. We definitely should eat the parsley. So this is Stephanie Georgiev saying thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. Make sure to check out the links in the program notes. And until next time, be well.